You're watching ESPN's Feast Week presented by Lowe's. And this is the PK80 presented by State Farm.
Well, not to insult their guys, but I don't take away a lot. I miss Miles. You know, I told him on the bench, you ever get hurt again, I'm going to kill you. You know, Miles is a special kid.
And that special kid is expected to play for Tom Izzo's Spartans tonight. A victory bracket winners semifinal. Michigan State and UConn the winner. Moving on to face North Carolina on Sunday. Alongside Sean Farnham, I'm Kevin Brown. Jeff Goodman will join us momentarily. A terrific game tonight that should be bolstered by the addition of Bridges. He did not play last night, Sean. How does he impact this team?
A superior athlete that is one of the best finishers around the rim in the college game. He blocks shots, he rebounds so strong. You put him out on the floor, it makes everything easier for every single one of the teammates. He was my National Player of the Year preseason pick. When you put a player like that back out there, Michigan State goes from being a good team to an elite level team.
Let's bring in Jeff Goodman now. And Jeff, Miles not going to start tonight, but what do you know about his status?
Bridges told me yesterday that he could have played against DePaul, but Michigan State held him out. Tom Izzo deciding to be a little bit cautious, not wanting him to play in back-to-back days, but he will play tonight, won't start. Izzo just told me moments ago that there are no minute limitations, anything on him. He looked good earlier today in practice, and he's going to be full go.
Miles Bridges, 19.7 points, 7 rebounds per game in his first 3. He's also blocked 8 shots on the year. He landed on the foot of Stony Brook's Michael Almonacci Sunday, sprained the left ankle. It has healed quickly, and Bridges will shed the worm up top. And again, not in the starting lineup. Matt McQuaid's taking his spot once again, but we're expecting to see Bridges off the bench for this 4th-ranked Michigan State team.
McQuaid had himself a game yesterday.
Career high for him. 20 points for McQuaid for Tom Izzo's Spartans. 547 wins at Michigan State. The Hall of Famer on the Spartan sideline. Green and gold for Sparty. UConn in the gray. David Honora, Jaren Jackson Jr. and McQuaid wins the tip for Michigan State. The Spartans yesterday a 73-51 win over DePaul. For the Huskies a 71-63 win over Oregon. The winner gets North Carolina on Sunday. Out of the first possession, Jackson is held by Tyler Polley. Officials tonight, Mike Eads, Joe Lindsay, and Jeff Clark.
When you think about this first possession, I like what Michigan State was trying to do. Get the ball underneath to Jaren Jackson. On the perimeter, that is the strength of UConn. They can defend, they can get after you, but they can't do that.
That's one way to get the ball to Jaren Jackson. Off the miss by McQuaid, the 6'11 freshman with the smash. Jackson 13 and 10, a double-double in the win over DePaul last night. Jalen Adams in possession of the ball for UConn. Their All-American Conference returning guard from last year. Out to Tariq Gilbert, a little dipsy-do and scoop for the first 2 here. Gilbert coming off a terrific night, 16 and the Huskies win. But in transition, McQuaid is left open and UConn catches a break on the missed 3.
McQuaid 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. And remember, it was McQuaid that came into last night's game just 1 for 10 on the season and then had the breakout performance.
Career high for him in points, career high 6 3-pointers in 8 attempts. He's already missed as many tonight as he did yesterday. Gilbert and Adams, a 2-point guard set for UConn. Those 2 along with Larry are the bulk of the scoring yesterday. This is Terry Larrier, 2 to shoot. Larrier draws iron, but nothing more. The rebound to Joshua Langford. Michigan State, it's a terrific sophomore class with Bridges not starting. Langford, Winston, and Nick Ward. The freshman Jackson has it knocked away. Larrier and Honora were there, and UConn has possession. Here is the superior guard Adams. Out for Larrier, and his 3 is off the mark. Honora fights hard for the rebound, though, and maintains possession of the UConn end, but throws it away to McQuaid. McQuaid taking it to the tin over Adams, and a sloppy start for the field for both teams. A combined 2 for 8 shooting. Have an officials timeout as we take a look at Kevin Ollie in his 6th season on the Connecticut sideline. 2014, he got past Michigan State in the Elite Eight. en route to a national championship in his second year. He has only made one NCAA tournament in the 3 seasons since.
And Nick Ward, who had gotten off to a good start this season, struggled last night, picked up 2 early fouls and came out of the game 2 minutes in. Tonight, he gets subbed out 2 minutes into the game.
Were you seeing something from Ward there?
Just wasn't active enough defensively, in particular on their on-ball screen defense. Did not show the way that Tom Izzo wanted to. That's what allowed Gilbert to score the layup underneath.
So it is Gavin Schilling, the redshirt senior, into the game. Langford floats it high off the glass, follows his own miss, cannot score, still loose, and Gilbert is there to snatch it out of the fray. Leaves it for Adams. And a 3 puts UConn in the lead early. Jalen Adams, the terrific junior from Roxbury, Massachusetts.
Gilbert and Adams, such a strong backcourt for UConn. Very good at attacking off the bounce. Very good at being physical at the defensive end of the floor.
Adams just his 3rd 3 on the season and 14 tries. Winston changes hands. Tough to go in on the Nora there. And Connecticut has another rebound. This is the freshman Polly meeting Schilling at the rim, and Schilling went straight up. A great defensive play. Langford over Larrier. Puts in 2 for Michigan State.
We didn't see that yesterday. Langford getting out in the open floor looking to score. We also didn't see Miles Bridges, who just got to the scorer's table and be making his first appearance here at the PK80.
Adams up over McQuaid. Huskies love to play isolation, particularly with the guards. Just 4 assists in the game yesterday in a win over Oregon. Schilling down the lane, puts it in, and a chance for 3. Winston with the assist. And Miles Bridges is ready to go. A roar from the Spartan crowd behind us, greeting Bridges. Back after 1 game miss with the ankle. Your pick preseason, Sean Farnham, for National Player of the Year.
He just does so many things well. He's got a great motor. He's at his best when he's attacking in the paint, although he's become a little bit more comfortable out on the perimeter. His decision to turn down the draft.
And Bridges thought he got away with one there on the offensive rebound, and he's not arguing it. He just smiles at Mike Eads after the push-off on Polley.
Look at Bridges right there. I don't see a lot there, to be honest. His hands were down. I think that's a play-on moment.
Antoine Anderson, Josh Cartman to the game for UConn. This loose ball is picked up by Ward, who gets back in the game. Tries to maintain possession for Michigan State. And it'll be UConn ball after the tie-up. Miles Bridges back for the Spartans when we return. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm. And in part by Want It All from Nike Basketball. From downtown to the beautiful city of Portland, Oregon. What a great November day it was today. No rain. UConn and Michigan State closing out our night of basketball here at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Kevin Brown, Sean Farnham, thrilled to be with you and thrilled to see Miles Bridges. Everybody in the world thought Miles Bridges was going to the NBA except for Miles Bridges. He comes back for his sophomore year, and he's on the court after missing 1 game with an ankle injury.
Ample opportunity when he went and did his research, and he could have fulfilled a dream to play at the next level, but he wasn't done fulfilling his dreams at Michigan State, and that's the reason for why he came back. He said he wanted to win a national championship. He wanted to be part of something special, wanted to leave a legacy. All of those things he's attempting to do this year for Michigan State. Just got in the game, picked up a foul. But as he's out on the floor, I'm telling you, it makes everybody better, because #1 guy on the scouting report is number 22. So if you're going to focus in on trying to shut him down, all of a sudden it opens up everything else for all the other players that are out there with him.
Foul on the floor is against Michigan State's Tum Nair, the senior captain. Bridges, a sophomore captain.
Well, and this is what UConn has to do. UConn has to try to get Michigan State in foul trouble. They have to continue to attack and go downhill. That's what they did successfully last night against Oregon. The size and the strength underneath is a lot bigger and a lot more athletic for Michigan State than it was for the Oregon Ducks. But you still have to stay true to who you are.
Michigan State allowing its opponents to shoot under 36% on the year. UConn has not shot well early. Bridges with the rebound. The Huskies 2 for 9 out of the gate. Michigan State not much better at 3 for 10. Tum Nairn guarded by Altari Gilbert, the redshirt freshman on the senior. And it back from Jackson, or will he? Gilbert pokes it away and takes it the distance, although some Spartans thought he took an extra step.
That's the in-your-face defense that UConn brings. They try to make you feel uncomfortable. They try to take you out of your rhythm of what you do best.
That looked almost exactly like a play 2 games ago. UConn played Boston University Sunday, and Gilbert took the ball away at midcourt on the first possession of the game. He is a terrific on-ball defender, number 3 in Husky gray.
He's dealt with multiple shoulder issues. He wears a brace every time he plays. Boy, was he tough last night.
16 points, 3 steals in Connecticut's win over Oregon to set up this meeting. And Tom Izzo's biggest concern was the Husky guard play. Compare the UConn guards to that 2014 title team's guard group. It's early, but they got 4 awfully good ones.
I like the fact that Miles Bridges hasn't forced anything. He's touched the ball a couple of times offensively and hasn't tried to do too much with it.
Jackson, Anderson is there to tie it up. Antoine Anderson, possession will stay with Michigan State. Rivalry weekend in college football, the 2 big ones tomorrow. Number 4, Oklahoma, led by Baker Mayfield, who will not start, but he will play. Takes on West Virginia in Norman at 3:45 Eastern. And at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, number 3 Clemson and number 24 South Carolina. Tigers hoping to avoid the fate of Miami in the final game before the ACC championship. Those games both on ESPN tomorrow. Great day of college football, wall to wall.
Shocking day in college football today. Miami going down to Pitt. Makes things a little bit more interesting in the ACC. Clemson, if they are able to win out, of course, tomorrow, then it sets up an ACC championship game where the winner, I believe, should be in the playoff system. The loser, probably not.
Antoine Anderson with the basket, plus a foul, and a chance for an old-fashioned 3 for Connecticut.
Loose ball gets deflected back out, and the activity of the Huskies players, that is what has stood out to me, even at their shoot-around. You and I were talking about the effort, the shoot-around, the feel of the shoot-around for Kevin Ollie's team.
It's fun to watch this young man, too, Antoine Anderson. Played in, frankly, relative obscurity, playing for Fordham, a program that has been down for a long time in the Atlantic 10. He's here as a graduate transfer.
A degree in communication, started all 32 games for the Rams, averaged over 11 points per contest.
And he hit a couple of game-winning buzzer beaters, too, and had some big points last night, including a go-ahead dunk. Here's a deflection by Quentin Williams, who did not play last night for UConn. Bridges takes it to the rack for Michigan State and taps it in with the off-right hand.
There's the athleticism of Miles Bridges, though. When he caught that ball, it was a rip-through, and he was gone. He missed the first, but his second jump was better than the first jump of the Huskies.
Freshman Josh Carlton trying to go to work on the freshman Xavier Tillman, and Carlton steps. A travel against UConn's freshman at the post.
This is where Miles Bridges is at his best, though. Watch as he catches this ball. It's a rip through and go. He's by the first defensive player. Goes back. Nobody's able to jump up the second time and gather the ball, but Miles Bridges certainly is. He left the first one short. He's just so athletic, so active.
A little bit more bounce in his step this year. He lost about 12 pounds. He's leaner than his freshman year.
And just looking and watching him run, you don't see any ill effects of the injury that he suffered against Stony Brook.
And Aaron going into the teeth of the defense. The block for Carlton, and a good fight for this freshman Tillman, who has played some big minutes early for Michigan State.
I love Tillman. I think he's going to have such a bright career at Michigan State. You look at his size, his shoulders. And again, I mentioned this. You know, a lot of kids, and I speak at a lot of high school events, they talk about, I want to be a Division I basketball player. I want to play at the highest levels. I want to play at schools like Michigan State. Take a look at the man at the free throw line. That's a freshman. He just got passed by another freshman in Jackson, who just walked and took his spot on the floor. You don't see a lot of guys that look like Tillman in high school basketball. I mean, he is going to make an impact at Michigan State as he continues to understand positioning, how Tom Izzo wants them to defend, avoiding foul trouble, but still playing aggressively.
Averaged 4 blocks and 5 assists per game in his senior year at Grand Rapids Christian. Back-to-back travels against Carleton, trying to work on Tillman. On the right side of your screen, we are headed to the half in the motion bracket. Gonzaga, the defending national runners-up, with a 7-point lead over Florida that game over on ESPN2.
Of course, the winner there gets Duke. The winner of this one gets North Carolina. In the championship game Sunday. We take a day off tomorrow, so enjoy some football, and then we get back at it Sunday. Here are the championship rounds of the PK80.
Anderson across court feed. Christian Vitale with his first shot attempt. And a high arcing three bounces into the hands of Winston. Cassius Winston had 8 rebounds yesterday. He finds McQuaid, who is cold to start. Adams to push tempo for UConn, and he is fouled. Adams fouled by Cassius Winston. UConn's lead is 1 in the early going.
In the wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, where 2 rivers merged in a hostile embrace, there was a settlement. The early arrivals called Stumptown. Some folks called it the Clearing. But in 1845, after 3 flips of a penny, everybody called it Portland.
Our beautiful home all weekend for the Phil Knight Invitational, the PK80. UConn in the lead over Michigan State. The good news for the Spartans early is they have their top man back. The lefty Miles Bridges, who missed yesterday's game with an ankle sprain, did not start the game. Checked in, immediately went for an offensive rebound, was called for an offensive foul. Some thought he might not have been called for. 3 rebounds in the game for Bridges, plus this basket.
Very active. You see him running up and down the floor. Didn't seem to be laboring that foot and that ankle injury at all. As Jeff Goodman reported, he wasn't going to be hindered as far as his minutes go. He's sitting out of the game right now. And Michigan State and UConn tied with points in the paint. And for the smaller guards, you got to realize UConn scores their points in the paint based on dribble penetration.
Gilbert with a fadeaway. Out to Tariq Gilbert, who is feeling himself again tonight. 6 points, 3 of 4 from the field. What a change for this Connecticut team from last year, and Gilbert is one of the big reasons why. Tore his labrum in the 3rd game of the season. Jackson. Anderson fouled, diving for the loose ball, and Antoine Anderson just seems to get to every loose ball for UConn.
Got to be able to run some better offense right now. Neither team shooting better than 29% from the floor.
Let's go, Josh!
And you know defense is going to be a strong part of both of the foundations of these 2 programs.
Anderson up top to Adams. That's not the combination you'd peg for an alley-oop. The 6'3" Adams. Last touched by Jalen, trying to go over McQuaid. Now here's some pressure for UConn.
Michigan State has struggled at times this college basketball season with turnovers.
Cassius Winston. It's way off the mark. That's a quick shot for Michigan State. 4 for 20 for the Spartans from the floor so far. They did not shoot the ball well in the first half last night either. They ended up erupting in the second half to beat DePaul by 22. Adams a deep three, and Jalen Adams connects.
2 for 2 from beyond the arc. The rest of the team is 0 for 4.
It's not necessarily the strength of his game, Adams, but he's feeling his shot tonight. He and Gilbert have combined for 12 of the Huskies' 15.
Look at the defense on the catch. UConn is staying attached.
Langford a three. Langford has Michigan State's first three-pointer. Sophomore from Huntsville, Alabama, Joshua Langford. Career high 19 a couple of games ago against Stony Brook. Larry or the backdoor feed. Nice catch by Gilbert, who will dribble out of it. Trying to use the screen from Honora. Good roll back by Tillman, and UConn has to reset. Adams against Langford. Adams rolls it home, his third triple of the half.
We're talking about how teams are struggling offensively, and all of a sudden, you've got some bounce and some life out of number 4 for the Huskies.
Langford. And a foul high out top against Adams, who just hit these 2 big shots.
Well, this one, you see the space given by McQuaid. Even though his hand was up, too much room, and then next possession, hands are down defensively, and Adams elevates up over the top and drains it.
Now, one of the things that Kevin Ollie said was that he needed a little more consistency from Adams in big games, knowing that teams would throw everything they had at him. So far tonight, in the Huskies' biggest game of the year, Adams is 3 for 3 from deep. Adams trying to work around his screen. Langford a step back. Carlton nearly touched that ball before it got to the rim, but he does get the rebound for UConn. Gilbert a pull-up three. And Jackson outlets to Winston. Michigan State loves to push. Winston back from Bridges, who just checked in. And a three for Cassius Winston.
Good floor spacing that time. Good decision by Bridges. When he catches the ball, as soon as Bridges catches the ball, everybody on UConn's team is going to freeze just for a second.
Is that an underrated part of his game, Bridges' unselfishness with the basketball?
I just think he's a smart basketball player. You know, he reads the defense and he'll take what's available to him. That was a simple play. I mean, it wasn't like he did something spectacular, but it's more so just how defenses react to what he's doing on the floor and where he's at all times.
Winston, 5 in a row. A sophomore from Detroit. Tom Izzo calls him one of the smartest players in terms of basketball IQ he has ever coached. Adams guarded by Bridges, and Bridges got a piece of that one. He is going to be pegged with his second foul.
Breakdown defensively, picking up that second foul. But we were talking about Bridges' awareness out on the floor. The previous play, the defense froze when he caught the ball, and he got it to Winston for the three-pointer in the corner. And then the next possession, watch this. As the dribble starts coming down, Adams stays attached. Who is he attached to in that corner on the right-hand side of your screen? Miles Bridges. And that's just what he does when he's out on the floor. It's not always about how he scores. It's not always about the spectacular blocks or dunks. It's about how he can open up the game for his teammates just by his presence on the floor. Unfortunately, with 2 fouls, his presence is going to be felt on the bench.
And you wonder if we'll see Bridges again in this first half. Adams perfect from beyond the arc, 1 for 2 here at the foul line. He has 10 of UConn's 19. Gilbert has 6, and Anderson has the other 3, all 19 from the Husky guards. Tum Nairn back into the game along with McQuaid. Nairn wants a ball screen. Ward and Jackson will shift. Jackson will screen. Jaren Jackson Jr. banks it in from straight on. Oh, my.
You can't really celebrate a straight-on bank 3, right? I mean, you can feel good about it. It counts as 3 points. It gives your team the lead. But it's it's not one of those that you're kind of like, you know what, yeah, I'm feeling it. My touch is so superior right now. Jaren Jackson, the talented freshman, whether I like it, whether he meant to or not, guess what? It counts as 3, and it gives Sparty the lead.
Nightcap in day 2 of the PK80. Michigan State and UConn playing here in the victory bracket. Florida Gonzaga in progress over the motion bracket. Earlier today, North Carolina moved on to the final of this victory bracket. Luke May got himself some new fans today. Aaron Bill Walton was one of them. 28 and 16, an outstanding performance for the Carolina championship hero.
Well, and the key too to that, Bill Walton figured out that Luke May is not related to Sean May. And you know how he figured that out? Is that there was an E on Luke May's name and not one on Sean May's name. At least that's what he told Roxy Bernstein.
That's right.
I was watching.
Yeah, and that's why Bill just perceives things quicker than we do.
Meanwhile, North Carolina advances. The winner of this one will advance to take on the Tar Heels on Sunday. Really impressed right now. Michigan State only 2 turnovers in the game. The UConn plays pressure defense. It's been a problem for Michigan State, and so far they've done a nice job taking care of the ball and valuing it.
They've averaged nearly 17 per game to start the season. Winston will flip it to Jackson here, operating out of the high post. And Winston calls off the Jackson screen. He'll use one from Ward instead.
And Jackson, a team high, tying 5 points and a team high 4 rebounds already in this game for the talented freshman.
Nice find, McQuaid to Ward just before the buzzer. Nick Ward was a non-factor yesterday. Some early foul trouble, played just 11 minutes, did score 8 points. Mostly a factor later in the game in the second half, and Michigan State well in control. Larrier has not scored yet for UConn, and Jackson sends that one back. That is what a 7'4" wingspan looks like.
That's what a very talented freshman that has a very bright future. And if Michigan State is to win the national championship this year, Jaren Jackson's going to have a very, very large impact in that. He can do a little bit of everything and does it really, really well.
Adams going to work up over McQuaid. That did not draw the iron. And after a red-hot start, Adams has missed a free throw and a 3.
Jaren Jackson has such great length, and his wingspan is impressive. A former McDonald's All-American. You and I covered him at the Nike Hoops Summit that actually took place right across the street at the Moda Center, just 27 steps away. Preseason Big Ten newcomer of the year, and I think he's going to not only be the newcomer of the year inside the Big Ten, he's got a chance to be right there in the discussion with the Marvin Bagleys of the world as far as level of importance to team success.
Just had his shot blocked, and there's a foul as Larry goes up.
A lot of great freshmen in college basketball this year. Lost to Michael Porter, only played 2 minutes, going to be out for the rest of the year from Missouri. A lot of talk about Marvin Bagley. We've seen some outstanding freshmen that deserve to continue to get more attention. Jaren Jackson is one of them. Trey Young would be another guy I would throw on that list from Oklahoma. He had 33 points and 8 assists today for Lon Kruger in their win.
Jackson has taken a seat. So has Winston. That's the second on Cassius Winston, who had 4 fouls yesterday in Michigan State win. So Winston is on the bench with 2. And Bridges is on the bench with 2. As Michigan State looks to hold on to this first half lead. First point for Terry Larrier, who had 18 to lead Connecticut yesterday. A 6'8" transfer from VCU, tore his ACL last year. Has been a big-time scorer early.
And Kevin, this is where UConn really starts to try to assert itself as far as level of aggressiveness go. Once it gets into the bonus, they usually do a nice job spacing the floor, driving, and looking for contact to earn a trip to the free throw line.
Gilbert nearly went for the steal there. Laid off. Langford on the drive. Langford steps back and scores. So with Bridges out of the game, no Winston. Somebody's going to need to step up offensively, and maybe it's Langford. Adams, Larrier slipping the screen, and a hesitation. A travel called against Larrier. 6 turnovers against UConn.
And Larrier's first turnovers, as you mentioned, 0 for 5 from the field. He's got to assert himself. In that time, I think he should have just pulled up a knockdown shot. If he would have made 1 or 2 shots, I guarantee you he shoots that ball. He doesn't try to put it down.
Same sort of thing with Elijah Brown in that first game. Ben Carter down low to Ward. Ward spinning around and getting the basket over Mamadou Diarra, who did not play for UConn yesterday. Huskies are trying to throw a few different freshmen down low, and Ward has a couple of easy buckets. And just like that, the grad transfer in Nora checks back to the scorer's table. We get an offensive foul. They're not going well for UConn right now. That's on Diarra.
It was an attempt to screen and then quickly come back with a rescreen. And you see him come back and he steps in and makes contact. He was never set. And the big part of that is you've got to be in position and you've got to lock your feet into the ground as a screener. And it's up to the ball handler to bring the defensive player to you. If you move as a screener, it's going to get called every single time against you.
With Michigan State. Langford over Lenora, and the tip not there from Ward. Batted away by Adams, and McQuaid swoops in to save the day. Langford off the push from there. He might have dragged the feet. Kevin Ollie wanted to travel. Ward over Anderson. That's a great matchup for Michigan State, but it did not result in a basket.
Defensively right now for UConn, they're laying off of Tum Tum, and they're baiting him to try to shoot the ball. And what that's allowing them to do is clog the lane a little bit more and overhelp on any post entries.
Understand why Nairn did not shoot the ball yesterday. What do we have here? Antoine Anderson has to go over to the bench.
Well, Kevin Ollie wanted a timeout, so he called it. Anderson saw it from the deep corner. He called it. They got it. They're trailing by 5.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm.
That's commitment right there.
And in part by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge savings on all things winter.
That is a strong
you like that get
commitment.
Up? That's pretty good. Mr. Sparty, Michigan State, UConn. That guy's happy. His Spartans up 5 on the left. Florida Gonzaga on the right. What a night for college. I tell you what, the first 79 PKs didn't hold a candle to this. This has been an awesome weekend of hoops.
You know this is the first one, right? They haven't had 80 of these tournaments.
No, what are you talking about?
Now, Florida's a really good shooting team, and they're trailing right now to Gonzaga. That's a big three-pointer in the corner. Actually, that just gave them the lead.
Yeah.
Jalen Hudson, the transfer who sat out last season from Virginia Tech, has given an extra added scoring boost to the Florida Gators.
I think we should kick out Doug and Dan and do play-by-play simultaneously for both games.
I don't think that's ever been done before.
Yeah. It could be trendsetters. None of the first 79 PKs said that, I guarantee. Here's another turnover by UConn, and the Huskies have been a little careless. 2 assists to 8 turnovers with the ball.
Well, 2 assists already better than what they had last night. They had 1 assist through 33 minutes of game time. This is not a team that's going to have a high percentage of assists to made field goal ratios.
Jaron Jackson, the handoff for Langford. He'll get it back, working against Larrier. Good pass out of the double. Langford goes in on Nora. Ball never hit the rim, and it doesn't matter as Gilbert takes it away. His second steal of the game. Out to Tariq Gilbert. Up. Jackson got a piece of the ball. Who got a piece of Gilbert is the question. And the foul is called on Jaron Jackson Jr. He becomes the 3rd Spartan with 2 fouls.
In transition, Jackson coming from behind. Clean up top. But if you looked at that left elbow was on the back, and that's what the official saw.
Well, it's been a slower start for Matt McQuaid, Jeff Goodman. No points after that terrific output yesterday.
Yeah, he was so good last night. In fact, he was probably the best player for Michigan State, but you could see it. He's laboring. He hurt his ankle last night, gutted it out, but he's not near at 100% right now.
He said he cramped up as well, both quads and a calf. Michigan State has 3 players on the bench with 2 fouls, and they're Winston, Jackson, and Bridges.
I'd like to see Langford get the shot on this possession for Michigan State. I think he's your best scoring option.
He has 7 to lead the team. Langford will get it back. Only 2 to shoot. Nairn. And that did not hit the rim. That's a shot clock violation against Michigan State.
And just poor awareness that time by Langford. Now, he did get the ball late in the shot clock. It was a lazy pass. Didn't get the shot attempt off, threw it to Tum Tum, and you look at the numbers last night from McQuaid. Everything went his way last night, except for the injury. We saw it late in the game, how hard he was playing, how much he fought through the pain.
It was a shorthanded Michigan State team without Bridges, and they are shorthanded now because of foul trouble. Antoine Anderson lost the ball, and McQuaid's bump not called a foul. Another turnover against UConn.
9 turnovers for UConn. A couple of empty possessions. It's a 3-point game, and you're turning it over at the rate in which UConn has. You've got to have a better awareness. You try not to force the issue so much. You drive baseline, you know you're running out of real estate.
Huskies have been kept in the game by their defense. Michigan State just 11 for 33 as Ward can't connect. It is Gilbert taking it into the teeth of the defense, and Ward rejects his application.
I think it might have been Tum Tum that got that one. Good job in the open floor for defense. And as you go up,
no, you're right.
It's Tum Tum with the block. And a defensive transition and hustle by Ward, though, to plug the gap is what allowed Tum Tum to get his hands on it.
5'10" senior from the Bahamas, one of the great leaders Tom Izzo said he's ever had. A multi-year captain. Nairn on the ball right now and hounding Gilbert. Adams keeps the pivot alive, got rid of it to Larrier. Larrier's got to get it up. And he got the rim, but nothing more. Rebound to Nairn. One of the fastest players in college basketball.
That last possession of the UConn, the ball never got inside the three-point line except for late in the shot clock when Adams tried to create space.
Coming up in the Alfa Romeo halftime report, big days for perhaps the 2 top players so far on the ACC's 2 top teams, Marvin Bagley of Duke and Luke May. An amazing start for North Carolina. And a champion crowned in the battle for Atlantis. Spoiler alert, it wasn't Arizona. That's coming up on the halftime report presented by Alfa Romeo.
You know, we were talking about the Pac-12 in our last game and how much they've struggled this week. Arizona taking 3 losses in battle for Atlantis. Washington State picked up a big win versus St. Mary's. And while we were on the air here, Arizona State knocked off Xavier. And Bobby Hurley's team off to a fabulous start this season. So there has been at least a couple of positives today for the Pac-12.
Oregon did survive DePaul in the previous game here in overtime, 89-79. Larrier has had nothing going offensively until now. He finally hits from the field. He's 1 for 8. Ward with a tip there, and UConn thought that ball was still in the cylinder. Mike Eads saying no, it wasn't. Gets the bench to sit down.
Nick Ward's level of activity at both ends of the floor. We saw him hustle down here. Tum Tum then ends up getting the block and then races down in transition to put himself in position to get those 2 points.
Gilbert splitting 2, and this one is knocked out of bounds. It will stay with UConn.
Well, UConn, this will answer your question of whether or not you were right or whether or not you were wrong. Was it still in the cylinder when the ball was touched? And the answer is yes, the ball was over orange.
So that's 2 points that Michigan State should not have had on the tip in from Ward. 8th offensive rebound for the Spartans, who are typically strong in that category. Here's an offensive rebound for Carlton. Great activity by the freshman big man. Carlton will head to the line as Matt McQuaid fouls him.
And that'll Carlton, who struggled early in this game, very unsettled with his back to the basket. Good fight for this rebound, loose ball, and then easy to call that one on McQuaid coming over the top trying to swipe it away.
The Spartans are trying to get out of this half without any more foul trouble. And this score might not look great for them, but consider Jackson, Winston, and Bridges have spent a bunch of time on the bench with 2 fouls, and Miles Bridges has played only 5 minutes. Any lead is a good lead under those circumstances. First free throw good for Carlton, a 4-star center.
And Tom
that legendary DeMatha program.
And Tom Izzo's hope is you get out of here and nobody, as you mentioned, picks up any more fouls, but they can all come back and play free in the second half and start to assert themselves more aggressively into the game.
Ten minutes for Tum Tum Nairn off the bench, and he will use Michigan State's timeout. Spartans will set up a shot with the lead in the waning seconds of the first half. Halftime is coming up here in the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, just next door at the Moda Center. A good one brewing between 7th-ranked Florida and 17th-ranked Gonzaga. The winner of that game gets Duke. The winner of our game gets North Carolina on Sunday.
Spectacular event thus far up here in Portland. What a great city. Great host for this event. You and I, we tried to go to Slappy Cakes today.
We tried.
And then they said it was 35 minutes, then it became 45 minutes, and then it became 15 more minutes after that. And then I said, let's not eat here anymore.
Went to the waffle window instead, and that worked out nicely for us. Push off against Langford, offensive foul, his first, and UConn can hold for the final shot.
I kind of get a sense that Tom Izzo might be a little frustrated right now.
What leads you to that conclusion, Sean?
Not quite sure. They call it top flight analyst work back there. I mean, I'm really reading into a lot of things. The tea leaves told me.
Gilbert with 5. Larrier's had a cold first half. It continues, and the Spartans' lead is 1 after 20 minutes of play. It was not pretty on either side. UConn shoots 30%, Michigan State 32%. And Miles Bridges played only 5 minutes, not because of the ankle injury, but because of some foul trouble. He picked up a quick one, and then a second foul. We'll hear from Tom Izzo now, who's with Jeff Goodman.
Tom, you're up 1 at half. Miles only played 5 minutes, 2 fouls. How's he looked when he's been out there to you?
He's fine. You know, he said he's nothing, there's no problem. He's in foul trouble, 2 fouls, as half our team is again. So that's just the way they want it. That's the way they got it.
Yeah, you're not too happy about the way the game's been called.
About the way we played. I'm not, really disappointed how we played. We haven't played very well. We're going to do a better job second half.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom Izzo making his feelings known. The Spartans only 28 at the break. The good news is they've only given up 27. 4th-ranked Michigan State and UConn, a slugfest so far. The winner, a date with North Carolina on Sunday. We'll go to the studio after these messages for the Alfa Romeo halftime report. Welcome back to ESPN's Feast Week, presented by Lowe's, and the PK80 presented by State Farm. Michigan State leaves the locker room having scored just 28. They've shot 32% from the field, but they lead, holding UConn to 30% shooting from the field. The winner of this game moves on to the championship of the victory bracket Sunday, where they will face North Carolina, lose it to the 3rd place game, also on Sunday against Arkansas. Kevin Brown, Sean Farnham back with you. It has been a close first half. It has not been a particularly great one if you're a fan of offense. These two teams have bogged down, been physical inside as we thought they might.
All right, the numbers here, just make it simple for you. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to read this. 1 of 10 to end the half from UConn from the field. Michigan State, 1 of 9. Offense has not been a big portion of the game so far. Here's big part why. Foul trouble for Michigan State. It is hard to develop any rhythm, any flow offensively when you are consistently changing your lineup, putting guys into different positions. for UConn, they're going to play one-on-one basketball. They're not going to run a lot of sets. They're not going to run a lot of plays to try to get guys open. They're going to use their athleticism to try to get a piece of the paint, and I think that's the big key in the second half. Can they break down the interior of this Michigan State defense?
Well, no surprise, Miles Bridges is going to start the second half for Michigan State. Thought that might happen with an ineffective Matt McQuaid, who might still be a little bit hampered. McQuaid started the game. Bridges starts the second half. Only played 5 minutes because of the foul trouble.
When people underestimate, like when you get in foul trouble, just what that is consistently doing to you. Yes, at the defensive end of the floor, it can get you to play passive if you're out on the floor. But more importantly, when you're taking guys in and out of offense, how do you find a rhythm? How do you stick with a group of 5 and give them 5 minutes out on the floor together to work through some of the troubled spots that they may be having offensively?
Now Tariq Gilbert, a deep 3 at the shot clock's end. And Josh Carlton, who did not start the game, has the offensive rebound for UConn. He is in for Tyler Polley, so each team makes a lineup adjustment to begin the second half. Carlton was very active. Couple of points, couple of rebounds in 9 minutes for the Huskies in the first half. Jalen Adams scooping it underhanded, and Carlton has the ball ripped away by Jaren Jackson Jr. Winston to Ward on the break, and a Spartan strike first in the second.
Well, that is just unbelievable show on the defensive end of the floor on that pick and roll situation, and then the big fella changing ends of the floor, able to score.
And Ward lumbering back to get in position on David Honora, who will be called for an offensive foul.
Well, what a start to the second half for Nick Ward. On UConn's first possession, they put him in a pick and roll situation. He hard showed, forced him to cut off the court, got back down, scored at the other end, and then absorbed the contact to take the charge.
Third foul against UConn's David Honora, who will stay in.
Like what you see in the first 30 seconds out of number 44.
Ward out of the double team. Baseball pass to Langford. Quick touches to Bridges. Miles Bridges misses a 2, and a foul is called against Connecticut underneath. Honora just picked up his 3rd, and he is assessed his 4th. Well, Kevin Ollie didn't want to do this early. He went to this lineup later in the game yesterday. He will bring in Antoine Anderson, 3 guards plus Larrier, who's sort of that guard-forward hybrid, and the 1 big in Carlton.
And already a working deficit for UConn as it is, just based on their roster as far as size and length against Michigan State. Now they just got smaller.
Cassius Winston, 2 fouls in the first half. Out to Bridges, 3-pointer missed. Offensive rebound, Ward over Carlton, score the goal.
Well, that gets me excited. We talk about offense, we want to see a rhythm, want to see some flow, you want to see some hustle. And Nick Ward, he just wants it more right now than anyone else on the floor at both ends. He wants to defend, he wants to rebound, he wants to play aggressively, and that's why he's created opportunities for him in a very short period of time here to start the second half.
Shawnee has 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of those 6 on the offensive end. And the Spartans will tell you he can still work on his defensive rebounding, but offensively he's in the right position more often than not. Now grabs a defensive board here, his 7th off the Adams miss. 4 in a row for Michigan State, coming from Ward to begin the second half. Winston a step back, and the Spartans are feeling it early.
This is the first time in this game we've had any flow offensively for either team.
Same kind of deal yesterday, right? Michigan State had nothing going in the first half, came out hot in the second. That game was tied with DePaul at 31. This one a 1-point lead. Gilbert out to Larrier. Wide open, and he buries the 3.
And for UConn, a much-needed sight. He is just 2 for 10 from the floor on the game.
And some much-needed ball movement. Jackson floats it in to answer.
But again, it's Ward that facilitates it. He catches the ball deep on the post. They bring the double team. Jackson trails and knocks it down.
First assist of the game for Ward to go with his 10 points, 7 rebounds. These Michigan State bigs really can pass. Larrier again, 2 in a row for Terry Larrier, and all of a sudden, an offensive basketball game is broken out.
Last two possessions, Michigan State has lost connection with Lair.
Huskies lost Bridges. And they will get the possession.
You watch the defensive possession, watch the screen. Both guys stay with the ball. The miscommunication, you've got to talk better defensively. You can extend out at least one dribble, but then you've got to either push back or switch on that show on the on-ball screen.
60 points for the starters in this game, only 10 combined for the bench. Adams, and a rebound down, and Miles Bridges, his fourth. Langford with a good spin move, draws the contact, and Antoine Anderson commits the foul. Already 4 fouls in not 4 minutes and a half called against Connecticut. Michigan State has not committed a foul.
Remember, we talked about this in the first half, towards the final minutes of just getting to the half and then being able to play free, being able to play aggressive in the second half, and certainly that's what Michigan State has done here in the first 3 minutes plus.
Joshua Langford, 8 of 9 from the foul line this year. Anderson out of the game, replaced by Christian Vital. Offensive rebound off the miss for Jackson, who just shoves his way in. Another double-figure night for the powerful freshman. Gilbert denied. 3 Spartans were there. Chance to push the tempo for Winston. A 3 for Winston. He's got it.
What a start to the second half for Michigan State.
A 15-6 spurt for the Spartans. They lead by 10. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball, brought to you by Lowe's and by MasterPass, the simple, secure way to pay from your bank, online, and on your phone.
Sure looks simple when he finishes.
We've got a good one going next door at the Moda Center. Gonzaga has just hit a 3 to lead Florida by 4. Number 17 versus number 7. Somebody's going to lose their first game today. Somebody's going to go on to play Duke on Sunday. That game over on ESPN2. Winner of this game will move on to play North Carolina on Sunday.
You see Josh Perkins on the right-hand side of your screen elevate up off that ball screen. Came out of high school, very highly touted, chose Gonzaga over UCLA. Last year played alongside Nigel Williams-Goss. I think that's really helped him as far as learning how to take that leadership role on and being that lead guard at the college level.
And this Gonzaga team, they lost so much from the national championship runner-up team last year. Are they undervalued,
yes,
overvalued, or probably
they're undervalued?
Okay.
Because they have guys like Killian Tilly, who is a really good big that just didn't get a lot of minutes last year based on the depth that they had at that position, in particular with Zach Collins, who's now in the NBA.
Jalen Adams, the floater, and that temporarily stops the bleeding. Adams with a 1-foot shot. He has 12 points, 4 for 9 for Connecticut.
I love what I've seen out of Ward, and he's on the bench now. But Jackson, the guy with the ball in his hands right now, has also played well. Combined, both of them have the same numbers, 10 and 7, 20 points and 14 rebounds between the two of them.
2 assists as well. Cassius Winston with 10 points as well. One of 3 double-figure scores for the Spartans. Winston over Carlton. Couldn't get the 3 to go. The tip falls to Bridges.
Second basket for Bridges.
And a tip from McQuaid. Active hands. Picked by Carlton, who throws to Adams to keep possession. Good activity for both teams, as Adams is fouled by McQuaid. Miles Bridges back for Michigan State, healthy and making an impact. Second chance points for the Spartans, who lead by 10.
Portland inbounds the ball. They are looking to get the ball into the hands of Paul Bunyan. Jackson with a nice pass to the big man. Bunyan fakes left, spins right, and slams the ball into the basket. Breaking the rim again. Bunyan.
I didn't realize my childhood recordings were still available with public consumption. Paul Bunyan.
I'm just wondering if they made a mistake there and they weren't talking about Bill Walton when he played for the Trailblazers.
The Paul Bunyan of Portland.
Yeah,
the big redhead, the former Trailblazer champion.
You know, look, good game here, 10-point lead for Michigan State. And Black Friday always is a day where a lot of people go out and they want to shop. And they want to try to find value. If you're looking for value in players in college basketball that may not be household names to you, Jordan Murphy from Minnesota having a tremendous start to the season. Tyler Davis for Texas A&M. But keep an eye on Brandon McCoy from UNLV. UNLV is undefeated. They beat Utah by 27 the other night. Brandon McCoy is one of the most talented freshmen in the country. There's a lot of them, but his name deserves to be talked about a little bit more than it is nationally.
That's a team that could compete in the Mountain West this year. Off to a great start, some good young players.
And a good week for the Mountain West. You think about the fact that San Diego State beat Georgia today to advance to the Wooden Legacy Championship.
Timeout, Connecticut down by 10. This ties the largest lead for Michigan State. It's led by 1 at the break. Anderson, Bridges with a help side block. Vitale cleans it up. He misses his shot. That's what Bridges has been so good at defensively to start this season. Wraparound pass to Schilling. He controls it.
Remember last night, how many blocks did Michigan State have? 0. They didn't have a block shot. They came into the game averaging 9.7 per game. Miles Bridges back out on the floor tonight. Jackson's got a couple. Bridges finally got his first.
And Bridges pulls up. Misses a 3. Jackson is there. And there's a UConn foul with Carlton in the vicinity.
Watch this rotation over from the help side. Bridges to the right-hand side of your screen. Shot goes up. And he just swats that thing away. He's angry at the ball. There's block shots, and then there's swipes. That was a swipe.
4th Michigan State block. Bridges' arm comparable to Paul Bunyan's axe. Chopping that ball away from Anderson, who is called for the foul.
You went there.
I went where?
You're pulling it back to Paul Bunyan again. I'm just pulling it to the guy that I think is going to end up being the National Player of the Year. It's that guy.
I think Bunyan's got a shot, personally. Bridges has played every minute so far this second half. Just 5 minutes in the first, did not start, and then picked up 2 fouls. Winston, push against Anderson, who's all in his face. Schilling with a handoff to Bridges, and Jackson springs free. Missing the 3 deep, and McQuaid went over the back. Good call. That'll be his 3rd foul.
You think about the PK80, and we talked about some of maybe the prices, the guys that you're looking for right now that maybe you're getting a little bit under the radar, that need a little bit more love in college basketball. That graphic that we showed you, but there's also those players that are playing really, really well. And for a lot of fans that are hanging around the day after Thanksgiving and yesterday, and they're watching hoop, and they're seeing this event and how large it is, they're getting a chance to really see the talent. Luke May and the performance he had from North Carolina, Trey Young, Marvin Bagley, Mo Bamba for Texas. College basketball is a lot of fun this year.
This is such a great way to start the season, too, to put some of these showcase teams and players on display for you all and for us to see. Terry Larrier, 2 to shoot. That was a tough one in traffic. Somehow goes down.
It's like in football. Do you get excited when Alabama plays Mercer, or do you get excited when Alabama's playing Auburn tomorrow in the Iron Bowl?
You want me to answer? Alabama plays Auburn.
Yeah. And it's the same thing in events like this. You got UConn versus Michigan State. The winner of this game is going to go play North Carolina.
Larrier at 3. And UConn is hoping to make that trip to the championship game of this bracket.
And meanwhile, the other semifinal. It's 78-76. Gonzaga with 35.1 left to go.
And that game over on ESPN2. Winner of that game gets Duke. What a night for college basketball. Jackson going up strong, the freshman into the body of Honora. Back in the game with 4 fouls. There you go, right side of your screen. Gonzaga hasn't lost since the national championship game. Trying to hang on against Florida. Larry or Long, and here is Bridges with a rebound for the Spartans. Larry trying to get a push off. It's a nice job of the officials not to fall for that. They get Ward for an offensive foul. Florida's just tied the game over on ESPN2. We're going to step aside. We suggest that you stick with us after the break, but we suggest that you head over to ESPN2 because that's a compelling one too. Great finish in our game. Great finish coming up in Florida Gonzaga.
Larrier has picked up his game after struggling in the first half. He's found his rhythm. They're going to need a lot more from him if they're going to hope to pull this one out against the Spartans.
It's cross-conference chaos of the best kind. The Big Ten's ACC Challenge starts Monday.
And tonight we are still in the middle of Feast Week. So many good games that we brought for you over this weekend. So many good ones coming up. The Big Ten ACC Challenge. Louisville, Purdue kicks off 4 terrific matchups with 6 ranked teams among those 4 games. Got a good one going on right now as well. Right across the way, 2 ranked teams, Florida and Gonzaga in the motion bracket. Gonzaga just came up short on a chance to win it in regulation. Overtime between Mike White's Gators and Mark Few's Bulldogs. The winner, well, there you go, the winner gets Duke. And the Sunday championship in the motion bracket. 3rd overtime game that we've had today in this PK80.
Yeah, that just speaks to the level of competitiveness that we've seen. And you see Gilbert on your screen. He landed awkwardly, went back to the locker room, and is back in the game. Remember, he's had a lot of shoulder issues. We brought that up in the first half. He's got a brace on underneath that shirt and that shooting sleeve. Larrier, as we went to break, said he needed more from him down the stretch. He started the game 1 for 9. He is 4 for his last 5 from the field. They're going to look for him again. Jalen Adams has been quiet, though.
4 of 9, 12 points. But 10 of those 12 came in the first half. UConn's going to need somebody else to step up, you figure, not just Larry. Maybe it'll be Adams. That's not what they're looking for. Rebound to Jackson, who's 9th, to go with 12 points. Langford along 2. Comes out to Gilbert. And Connecticut push. Answer is no. The Huskies will settle. 3 guards, Larry and Honora. Gilbert, the scoop over Nairn, and he gets the soft touch. And Gilbert is there to save the ball. Right back to Nairn. This will give the Spartans some quick numbers. Jackson on the drive in. That's going the other way. Offensive foul, Jaren Jackson.
A great job by Gilbert, who had just gotten back into the game. A little crossover. Nobody's there to pinch it off. And he's able to finish up over the top. Then he's active defensively. Almost got the steal. And a good job defensively rotating over to grab the offensive charge.
Michigan State sends Jackson to the bench with his 3rd foul. Ben Carter is on for the Spartans. Nairn in the game for Winston as well. Adams getting position on Langford. Left it on the deck, and Ward is there for the rebound. Tum Nairn. Bridges on the blow-by. And an offensive foul called against Bridges. That will be his 3rd.
Well, that's an easy call. You clearly see him take that offhand and make contact. You extend out that arm like that to back your defensive player off, they're going to call it every single time.
Matt McQuaid returns for Michigan State. Bridges and Jackson, within a matter of moments, both sit.
There's a door that has been cracked because of the foul trouble. Will UConn walk through it?
Gilbert off the mark on a three. Rolled out, and the rebound to Nick Ward. 10 points, 9 rebounds for Ward. McQuaid in the game with those 3 fouls as well for the Spartans. Langford got a high ball screen from Ward. Swing it around to McQuaid. Hits his first 3 of the night.
That was really good offense. On ball screen, dribble away, diagonally pass to the corner. Gave McQuaid time to get his feet set and knock it in.
Adams on the cut. Carter smothering him. Nice defensive effort by Ben Carter in this game. Anderson 3 to shoot. Anderson taking it on Carter, and that's a travel.
Well, UConn content with playing some one-on-one, and Michigan State using ball movement, floor spacing, quick passes to find higher percentage shots. A good job sharing the basketball there. Second half, the numbers much
better than 50% after shooting less than 33% in the first half. Ward is mauled. Carlton and Anderson were there. This foul going against Josh Carlton, his 3rd.
Often discussed already this year, and you hear it every single game. Nick Ward has gotten in better shape. All right, so that every Michigan State fan that watches basketball, they know it. They hear it every single game. We tell you every single game. What does that mean? Watch the footwork here. It means explosiveness, a better first step. That little bit, maybe like a 1/10 of a second as far as quickness goes, makes the difference from being able to make that move to the defense collapsing on you and you not getting that clean look or drawing the foul.
Where's the next step in his game? Where can that evolution continue?
Well, he's got to stay out of foul trouble. He got in foul trouble last night. Took himself out of the game 2 minutes in. And tonight he's battled through some of it as well. But you know, when you see his motor running, and it's running on high octane like it has so far here in the second half, he's a very special player.
Adams fouled on the way up. Remember, Ward came out of this game right at the start, not for a foul, but we think because Tom Izzo didn't like his effort.
Well, they didn't like him on the pick and roll defense on the second possession of the game, and Tom Izzo quickly got him out to talk about it. And then you come out in the second half and conversely see him show brilliantly on an on-ball screen and then react back to plug the lane and make sure that he has an opportunity to get the stop. Then ran rim to rim and got the layup. That's what you need to see more out of Nick Ward.
And we're looking at a little bit of an ovation here. A well-deserved breather, at least until the under 8. Xavier Tillman back in for Michigan State as Ward ponders something to himself. One more for Adams, who has 13 points. Now 3 for 4 at the line for Connecticut. These free throw numbers, if this is a close game, you're going to want to look at those. UConn 10 of 11, Michigan State 3 out of 8.
It looked like McQuaid traveled right there.
Huskies wanted to travel, and I think Michigan State might have caught a break.
In zone defense, UConn went to this often last night.
Carter finds Winston. Carter again delivers out of the high post into the corner for a 3. Larrier taking it in on Carter, and that individual play does not result in a basket. Got a good look, but Nairn comes away. Tum called for the ball right back from Winston. Guarded by Vital. McQuaid with a grimace as he caught that ball. Winston on the cut. And the floater gives Michigan State its largest lead.
2 back-to-back great possessions offensively for Michigan State. They're spacing the floor right now, and They've got UConn creating bigger lanes. UConn wants to pressure the ball, so if they're going to extend out beyond the NBA line, that's going to create seams and gaps that they can be attacked.
There's a three for Terry Larrier, his fourth. He's up to 18 points, matching his total from last night's win over Oregon. To 7 minutes, winners bracket semifinal for the victory bracket. Winston, another. 8 in a row for Cassius Winston, leading the way for Michigan State. Adams on the spin. Adams gets his own miss and scores. Long uninterrupted stretch of play here. We've not yet hit the under 8, and some good offensive play for both teams. Nice find, Winston on the bounce, and Tillman puts it up and in.
You start to see Michigan State feel more and more comfortable out on the floor.
And so without Bridges too.
Well, and they have so much talent. We talk about that sophomore class, and we talk about Ward, and we talk about Langford, and obviously Miles Bridges gets a ton of attention. But it has been Winston in the last couple of minutes, whether it be scoring or facilitating the offense.
18 for Adams, meanwhile, as McQuaid starts to feel his stroke, rolling it at 2. We have still not hit the under 8 media stoppage. Adams, good basketball being played right now offensively for both teams. Adams has 20.
Good basketball, clean basketball being played. And this is how you develop a rhythm and flow to the game. The guys just play. We don't have to stop for fouls, for turnovers.
Winston 3 shy of a career high. They'll drive at Larrier. Winston absolutely on fire.
The look to the bench.
20 for Cassius Winston. Adams is shooing the Larrier screen. Larrier just screamed at him as Adams got around the screen. Gilbert misses a 3. Pulled down by Tillman. Frustration for Connecticut between Jalen Adams and Terry Larrier. Connecticut desperately needs a stop. Winston goes around and
Stop it! Oh, stop it! Are you kidding me? We've been sitting on a Winston highlight package to go to commercial break for a good 4 minutes. And every single time I keep telling my producer, can we add that? Can we add that? Because he just has not stopped going for the last 3 minutes. It's been from beyond the arc. It's been a pull-up in the mid-range. A little step back and finish. He had the assist. And then the drive. And the flare. And the flip. Oh, yeah, it's the PK80, and it's Mr. Winston's show right now.
While we're in a timeout on the left side of your screen here on ESPN, on the right side, ESPN2 sees Florida failed to take the lead on a missed free throw. One more to come between the Gators and Gonzaga. The winner of that game in the motion bracket will play Duke on Sunday, and Florida has just taken the lead again. That is over on ESPN2, happening right next door at the Moda Center.
Spectacular event going on here. Cassius Winston, you see coming out of the timeout on your left-hand side of your screen. 9 of 12, a career high, now 22, with 4 assists and 0 turnovers tonight.
Tom Izzo has challenged Winston. He's challenged him to be a better defender. Winston has gotten his body in better shape. He's wanted him to be a little bit less casual with the ball. He has been decisive He has scored 17 in the second half, and he's frankly been their most consistent shooter on the season.
What a performance, though. We've had a lot of great individual performances today. This has been electrifying in the last 3 minutes.
Well, UConn needs to get points in a hurry. Adams was trying to get him there. Jalen Adams with 20 has been terrific offensively for UConn, but it's been Winston's show. Jaron Jackson back into the game along with Bridges. Langford. That pass makes his way through to Jackson, who's in trouble. And Vital picks up the steal. Takeaway for Connecticut. And Vital loses it to Tillman. Uh-oh.
Here we go.
There goes Bridges. Oh, that'll do.
No, it will not. That's not the excitement I was looking for.
We saw that developing from half court, and half the building was ready to jump out of its seats. Larrier a three, and that is short. Now that'll be assist number 5 for Winston with no turnovers. Last season tied for first in the Big Ten in assists. 8.3 on the year coming into today. Winston over to Nora again. He cannot miss. Extending the career high. Scored 21 last December against Northeastern. He has bettered that in a bigger spot. Adams with 22 off the 1-foot floater.
The thing about it, too, is he's just been in complete control. You know, you look for guards, and is he forcing the issue, or is everything just simple? Is he keeping it all tight and compact at the offensive end? And when you keep it that way and you're playing free, a lot of good things can happen.
Langford to pull up 2. You know, we didn't hit the under 8 until the 4:10 mark because David Honora slipped and the officials stopped the play. We still haven't hit the under 4. And we are not going to here. No fouls, no out of bounds, just a good rhythm and flow of basketball right now, particularly if you're a Michigan State fan.
Polar opposites from what we saw in the first half. And again, as I mentioned at halftime, a big part of that is when you can avoid being in foul trouble and you can keep guys out on the floor consistently, good things happen. And for Michigan State, there's been a lot of things going well here in the second half.
Timeout taken by Michigan State. In command, ready for a date with UNC. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. We are inside the event, and it feels like we're inside the Moda Center. Just next door on the right of your screen, Gonzaga is a free throw away from the lead on ESPN.
He missed it!
Oh, my goodness! We are going to double overtime, or are we? There's 7 tenths of a second.
It was a travel. They called a travel.
We were in break. Gonzaga scored to take the lead. Chris Chioza had a three-point play for Florida. Then Gonzaga tied it. And this building is going absolutely bonkers. Both teams, coaches, fans, all of us are looking up at the Jumbotron where the Florida-Gonzaga game is being played. I mean, this feels like we're at the NCAA tournament. It's amazing the energy that just popped into this building.
Oh, I love it. I mean, this is college basketball. What an event. What a thing to be a part of.
Winston inside and Tillman foul. Don't count the foul by Jackson.
They called it travel in that game. Watch this. On the offensive rebound on the right-hand side of the screen. As he moves it down to that's a travel.
So Gonzaga's
going to have a chance, and I think it's going to be about maybe even 1 second left to go on the clock. We'll have to see.
Right there, that's the travel, I think.
Yeah, 0.9, 1 second. That's what's going to be on the clock.
So the free throw, meanwhile, for Michigan State.
What a heartbreaking way that would be to lose in that game. But Chris Chioza with a great full-court drive and an N1 scoop, reminiscent of what he was able to do against Wisconsin in the Sweet 16, and then the answer right back by Gonzaga.
2 for 2, Xavier Tillman. Michigan State's going to play North Carolina. How much fun will that be? 4 versus 9. 2 for Romeo Towers, the defending national champion. We don't know who Duke will get yet, as Antoine Anderson scores for Connecticut. Duke's going to get the winner of this game on your right, which again is on ESPN2 in full. We're going to keep it right here until we get a resolution to that Florida-Gonzaga game. It's up on the Jumbotron right now, and I think most of the folks in the arena have one eye on the game and one eye on the Jumbotron. Career night for Cassius Winston. How about two more?
Michigan State's execution in the second half, elite.
Here's Gonzaga for the win. Double overtime next door at the Moda Center. ESPN2.
Producer, I'm just going to let you know, don't ask me for anything after this game. I'm racing over to watch the end of the one across the way.
Cassius Winston put together one of the most dynamic performances, maybe not just of the PK80, but of early season college basketball as a whole. Winston against Poly, into the lane, and
deservedly so, right?
Oh my!
I mean, deserved way for this game to come to a close for Michigan State. Winston doing everything and absolutely anything that he wanted to do down the stretch. You want to dance with him? He'll dance with you and he'll get right by and finish.
Michigan State will finish this game hitting 12 of its final 13 shots. Winston 12 for 15 for 28 points.
He gets the rebound.
Why not? 28 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, no turnovers. Take a bow, Cassius Winston. Michigan State and North Carolina. We will see you Sunday. Time now to check out our assist of the game, brought to you by State Farm. Who else would have the assist but Cassius Winston?
Just a beautiful drop down off the on-ball screen. That was in the midst of Cassius Winston, just absolutely taking over this game for Michigan State.
What a performance by Winston.
What a second half.
This game was 28-27 and a half. Remember that? Michigan State ended with 77.
An absolute explosion in the second half. They avoided foul trouble. That's going to be key in that game against North Carolina coming up on Sunday, the championship game of the PK80 victory bracket. If you drew it up before we showed up, that's what everybody was kind of hoping to see, and we're going to get a chance to see it. Number 4 versus number 9, Michigan State versus North Carolina.
Carve out some time Sunday night, 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Michigan State wins by 20. For Sean Farnham and our crew, I'm Kevin Brown. Sports Center's coming up here. Gonzaga, Florida, finishing up on ESPN2. Don't go anywhere.